All right. This morning, when I woke up to do my little 4 a.m. rant videos before I go to work, I like to sit down, drink some coffee, and go over rants about something going on in Dead by Daylight, sometimes just in video games as a whole on what's going on or, what people are talking about, complaining about, whatnot. I sat down to do that this morning, and what I was going to talk about, I kind of quickly realized I was going to need longer than 5 or 10 minutes to do. It kind of needs more time invested into it. It's a big issue that needs addressed. And what I'm here to talk today about is you. You or someone you know. Because you know what? I'm not going to say I'm not guilty of this, but every one of us has at some point gotten mad at game devs and sat there and been like, oh, a bug that's still in a game, or maybe they nerf something and you're like, oh, what the fuck are you doing? Do you not know how to do your job? And I'm guilty of it too. I mean, every one of us gets, pissed when something happens that's beyond our control because of a game glitch or whatnot. And sometimes it's perfectly logical to sit there and be a little pissed off about it. But, quickly, a lot of us very quickly, I'd say a lot of us, I hope it's a lot of us, very quickly get over it and carry on. You know what helped me get over that was the fact that I went to college for this shit. I got a degree in computer animation with the goal of working in the game industry. Now, I wasn't prepared for the entire industry to fall apart the week after I graduated, but is what it is. But at the same time, I went to school for this stuff. I may not be in the mechanical coding side, but I have worked with them. I have talked with them because you work with everybody. Like, I got a buddy that's got an associate's degree for game mechanics and coding, and we work together to try and come up with our own video game ideas because I'm the animator, he's the coder, and we can work back and forth with that. But at the same time, when you do that, you start to learn workflows of the other pipelines. I have to learn Python coding for use in Maya, 3D engine software that does animations, modeling. If you're unfamiliar, it's what they use to animate Dead by Daylight. But, I do coding in there to fix issues for technical animation. I'm a character rigger. I make characters I don't animate them, but I make sure that they can actually be animated. I basically design the engine inside of the car. I don't design the car, I just make sure that the car can drive, and the animator then takes the wheel and does what he has to do. But at that same time, I've learned that issues aren't exactly easily fixable. I may be sitting crying about a bug in a game, but in the back of my mind, I know that someone's working on it, and it's not an easy fix, or it would have been fixed. They just cannot find the reason, the problem in the code, the bad interaction somewhere in the code that's causing the problem. And there's somebody probably losing hair day by day trying to fix that problem, all while we sit there and scream at them about them not knowing how to do their job. It takes, a lot of us may sit here and complain about something in a game we don't like, and eventually we'll brush it off after 5 minutes, but a lot of us take it too fucking far. So within the last couple years, it has become a major issue. In fact, I'd say since probably the pandemic happened and everyone had to sit at home, a lot of us did nothing but play games. And with nothing else to do, people took out their aggravation and have increased so on game devs. Not just in the private of their home, going, fucking fix your game, and throwing the controller and coming back 5 minutes later. No, people have taken to social media to attack them. People find their houses. People fucking find numbers, contact information, and everything from mild threats to full-on death threats have been sent to devs. It is so pervasive that at the GDC, the Game Developers Conference earlier this year in 2023, it was actually a problem that has been brought up. And here's how pervasive that problem is. So I went through and read this, and this covers a lot. So it is a free download. If you're interested, you can look it up. Go to Google and type in GDC, and you can get this year's conference notes. They covered a lot, everything from, the types of games that are, pay to win versus pay to play, like what's selling more, what VR's coming, metaverse stuff, blockchain stuff. Like they go through and talk to a lot of game developers about this at the conference. But what stuck out to me is this chart right here. I'm going to point to it right there. See where it says, yes, it's a very serious issue, minor issue. You combine these three right here, and you have 91% of all the game developers that were at least, a lot of game developers were at the conference, but out of those that were talked to at the conference, which is still a decent sample size, 91% say harassment of the game devs has become a serious issue. And I've noticed it. I don't even work in the game dev industry yet. I'm still applying, still getting rejection emails. However, the one thing I have noticed is when I try to talk to people about this in whether it's Facebook or Twitter, people just don't seem to give a shit. I was actually told that this is such an issue, and I brought it up in a conversation and was basically told, oh, well, that's that's just part of the job. Everyone's like, well, if you're going to work in video games, it's just part of the job to have people tell you the different ways they want to kill you because you nerfed their weapon, or they didn't like a new character, or, oh my God, they changed my, display screen, my graphics interface. Oh my God, they need to die. And I really wish I was being facetious about this, but I'm not. The amount of times I've seen people threaten devs, talk about threatening devs, even if it's not directly to the devs, in chat groups, whatnot, harassing and, verbal threats they make in there. Yeah, the devs may not be able to see it, but it doesn't mean that it's not out there. And if it becomes such a problem that this chart, and let me move my hand, this chart is showing that, especially yes, it's a very serious issue at almost half. And I'd almost combine these two here. Even if you're saying minor issues, I guarantee that these last three, the pink, yellow, and red bars, are to one specific demographic that really doesn't have a problem with it, because, not gonna lie, when it comes to game developer harassment, guess who catches the fucking most of it? Women and minorities. With women, if you're a woman minority, holy shit, you catch the most of it. How many times, I have seen people, on Twitter or whatnot, say they're a game dev as a female and just have just fucking steamrolled by people just talking shit to them about how they fucking can't know anything about games, or a woman streamer playing games and all they fucking get is harassment. It is huge. So I'm willing to bet that minorities and women make up a massive portion of this chunk right here. Oh, and it's bad. I wish I could say that this isn't a massive problem, but it's a problem that you can't even address, because to try and address it is just to be told you don't know what you're talking about. It's part of the job. If they don't like it, they should quit. They should just do what we say and then it'll be fine. So let's break down a lot of these arguments on why they're shit. So let's address some of the things I've heard when it comes to the game dev world. If you don't like it, you should quit. It's part of the job. That is bullshit. Anyone wants to say harassment is part of your job, I say, let me go grab 50 people. I don't even care if I know them. Just 50 people. Hell, 10 people. Let me go to your job and just start spitting abuse at you. Telling you how much better I can do it, how wrong you're doing everything. Everything from critiquing everything you do to telling you, oh, you screwed up, you should die. Maybe you should just unalive yourself. You're so terrible at your job. Let's see how long you last before you lose your shit. Because imagine if you lose your shit, you're fired, and you may not even be able to find a job in that industry again. So your options are to fucking take the abuse or quit. That's the only option you have at your job right now. People are going to come in. They're going to tell you all the different ways you are terrible. They will try to make you feel like a miserable human being. And if you so much as just even flash a frown at them, you'll be fired if you react in any way. Could you do it? No, I'm going to say you can't. So this argument that it's part of the job can just be shoved straight up your fucking ass. Another thing I've heard is that, well, if they knew what they were doing, or if they listened to us or did what we said, then they wouldn't be harassed. Well, that's bullshit too. For one, after being in the Dead by Daylight community for as many years as I've been, I have seen all kinds of terrible ideas that people are mad won't be implemented into the game. Because, as I've talked about before, a lot of people's idea of balance, especially in video games, is nerf their stuff, buff my stuff. They don't actually care about game balance. They care about, edging things in their favor. So a lot of these ideas that get floated around, especially some popular ones that, peak up from time to time, have nothing to do with actual balance and everything to do with those people just wanting to win all the time. So of course, game devs are going to throw a lot of the fluff they get. Probably I would instantly bet over 90% of the ideas they have to hear from people just get thrown out because they are absolutely terrible for one reason or another. Either it doesn't work in the video game, coding wise, it would, tend to break things, whatever it has to be. Like they see those ideas and go, yeah, that's not even going to remotely work. But those are the same people saying, if you listen to us, we wouldn't harass you. That, like, you're basically saying, do as we say, or you deserve our scorn, regardless of whether or not what we say is good, especially since a lot of people will fight on two different sides. Like Dead by Daylight, people think one thing's broken on one side of the game for Survivor, and then people think another thing's broken for another thing on Killer, and their idea is, okay, nerf that and then buff this so I can do better. You can't do both. You can't listen to everybody and implement everybody's ideas, because a lot of people's ideas just clash. They're head to head with each other, and it doesn't work. But people don't care because you're not listening to their idea. You're not doing what they say because they know so much more than you. They work as a dishwasher at a local restaurant, but dear God, do they know how to do C+ better than you do, even though they've never written a line of code in their life. All right, this next one, this is one I absolutely love. When people assume or tell game devs that, well, there's a problem in the game, you guys should be working overtime until that problem is fixed. It is a minor inconvenience, but I need you to invest all of your social life and home life into this problem so I can enjoy my game a couple hours a week. Bugs are always going to be in games, especially live service games. And yes, sometimes there are bugs that are catastrophic, that crash a server, shut down something. Maybe, you're having massive lag and, like in DBD, we get desync. Maybe it's gotten so bad the game is unplayable. And yes, there's emergency situations where everyone has to come in and say, hey, it's down. We got a fire. We got to put it out real quick. But your minor inconvenience that happens 1 in every 10 games is not worth people sacrificing their lives to fix for you as fast as possible. They will get it fixed. They will look at the code. And trust me, sometimes sitting there staring at the code and trying to figure out where something's wrong, what interaction, what command line is not functioning, what is not being pulled in right, what's not talking with another side of the program, can be infuriating. And staring at it an extra 12 hours to 20 hours every week isn't going to make it be fixed any faster. Adding more people to the problem isn't going to make it be fixed any faster. Expecting all these people to give up their lives so you can play a game 4 hours a week is so highly unrealistic that you just don't even see that in any other industry but like emergency services. EMS are about the only one that can be, actively called in, and it's a life or death situation. Your little tiny game graphic glitch is not a life or death situation in which people need to give up the rest of their lives for you, especially since a bug will always exist. There's always fixing one bug a lot of the time creates a new bug. It is just nothing but a constant never-ending stream of chasing down bug to bug to bug. So expecting people to give up their life and then yelling at them at the fact they won't is completely fucking unacceptable, people. This has gotten to the point that it is affecting actual people that want to work in the industry. We talked about this in college, and that was a lot of things brought up by women in the class, was the abuse they would face when we were doing like discussions in Discord or after class stuff. People talked about that. And it has turned people off from wanting to work in certain parts of this industry. And it is absolutely ridiculous that it has gotten to this point that people, like, I get it. We're competitive. We want to play video games and we like to win. Some people only have fun if they win. That, I think, is a problem, but that's a topic for another discussion. But at no point does beating somebody in a video game matter. Ever, unless you're playing in a tournament, in which case you got thousands upon thousands of dollars of money in the line, then it might matter to you, but you still don't get to hurl abuse at devs even in that situation. At no point is someone going to die because there's a bug in a video game, and yet constantly people treat it like, if you don't fix this, then they're going to die, their parents are going to die, their dog's going to die, the cat's going to die, the goldfish is going to die. It's up to you to save them, and it's all your fault if their house burns down because of it. We got to get the fuck over that. And it's time to start holding people accountable for this shit. I know a lot of times we like to post videos of like salty reactions to players and stuff on here. We like to call out other streamers, call out other YouTubers when we see toxic shit. Can we please take that same fucking energy and apply it to those people sending death threats and worse to the devs of whatever video game you play? I'm asking all of you to do this. I would love to be a game dev one day. I, however, know I don't have the necessary mouth, and I will probably get fired because the first one of you that came up and started talking shit on Twitter will get the full force of my Navy don't give a fuck. And that's problematic for my hiring purposes, but hey, maybe Trey Stone and Matt Parker need somebody like that one day. Where I'll end this is imploring you to help take a stand against this. We all enjoy these video games. Whether you're coming home from a long day of work to just play a couple hours of Call of Duty for some stress relief, or you're memeing around with your friends on Dead by Daylight on the weekend in the Swift, or maybe you're a content creator with YouTube, Twitch, Kick, whatever you're on, and you actively use the game dev content to make your career and your own content. We all enjoy the products of their work, but we have done a tearfully and woefully bad job at defending them from others that want to cause harm and emotional distress upon people. We actively like their product, but don't want to defend them, you know, against those that don't. Like, yes, there are always good gripes that people can make, you know, realistic complaints about stuff going on. And I'm not talking about that. All y'all know exactly what I'm talking about when I threw out this whole video. The people that just cannot handle and actively lose their shit with everything from nonstop harassment to violent threats nonstop. And we've just let it go on for far too long. If if new people coming into the industry only last a couple years before the wear and tear of all the harassment they get just chases them out, or worse, people don't even want to get into the industry to begin with because all they know is, man, I'm going to go to work and everybody's going to tell me the different ways I should kill myself all day long, no matter what I do. Who would want to go and work in a job like that? You don't. I don't care who you are. I don't care who you are watching this right now. You don't. So why do we expect it or just view it as an expectation for working in the industry? Let's help each other and call out these people that are saying this shit. If you see it in a private chat, group, whatnot, anything like that, bring it to the light. It's time people learn there's consequences for saying this stuff to them. I mean, game devs can only do so much. A few have even actually in the past called the cops and had them showed up to people's houses, telling them if they keep harassing them, they will be arrested. But there isn't enough cops on the planet to actively do that and stop everybody. Even if, you know, who's going to be able to tell if a threat online is a real threat of violence and they do intend to physically harm you? It's impossible, and you can't react to every single one of those threats realistically because there's just so many. So it's our job as content creators, streamers, video game enjoyers, where not and what have you, it is our job to hold those people accountable. And it's time we start doing it. Because if nobody wants to get into this industry or no one can work in it long enough and wants to make it a career, then our video games go away. And we won't have anything left. And it will be our fault. We will be left with nothing because we did nothing.